Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 19, State Power as elaborated by Marx, Weber, Parsons and others. And our topic is Weber on power. Weber deals power primarily in the context of society and state. Weber defines power as the probability that an actor will be able to realize his own objectives against opposition from others with whom he is in social relationship. This is a broad definition. His definition of domination is more specific. It refers only to those cases of exercises of power where an actor obeys a specific command issued by another. In making the distinction between the power and domination, Weber put forward two types of solution to the problem of order. Power represents action likely to succeed even against the opposition and resistance of those to whom it is applied. This solution is typically found in warfare and class conflict, but it has the limitation of being unstable as long-term source of order. Legitimate domination, by contrast, involves an element of voluntary compliance from those to whom it applied and therefore embraces the issue of meaningful action. Domination can be legitimatized in terms of the appeal to the different principles, namely tradition, national legality as embodies in enacted law, and charisma. Weber's concept of class, status and party, along with his analysis of state and bureaucracy, are the center of his concept of power. Each grouping is focused around or oriented towards power as an independent point of conflict. Each represents an aspect of and a basis for power. Let us discuss each of them in detail. Weber's discussion of class, status and party are three dimensions of stratification in society, each of which conceptually is separate from the others, and specified that on an empirical level each may causally influence each other. Weber did not ignore economic sources of power and considered these to be among the more important sources, especially in capitalism. But unlike Marx, he claimed that power did not emerge only from economic sources, and he certainly does not restrict power relationship to ownership or non-ownership of the means of production. Power can also emerge from status or party or association concerned with acquiring power, or can also be pursued for its own sake. Among these different forms of power, there are cross-cutting influences and effects, so that power obtained in one of these spheres may lead to power or a change in situation in another sphere. For Weber, class is an expression of economic order. To be more precise, it is determined by a person's market situation. Here, a class denotes an aggregate of individuals who share the same class situation. So, as per the identification of class situation with the market situation, there could be as many class divisions as there are minute graduations of economic position. But similarly to Marx, Weber also argues that the ownership versus non-ownership of property is the most important basis of class division in a competitive market. Weber distinguishes two types of classes: positively privileged class, who are the property owners, and acquisition or commercial class. He also identifies middle class, a group that can be placed between these two. For him, property or lack of property is the basis of all class situations. He also distinguished social class, which is composed of the plurality of the class statuses, between which an interchange of individuals on a personal basis or in the course of generation is readily possible as well as typically observable. For Weber, power is associated with property class in terms that they enjoy more status and privilege in the society. The acquisition classes are in a negatively privileged situation, and they are workers of the various principal types. They are less powerful in the society. Social mobility is possible between different classes or strata in the society, but this movement is possibly not to a limited extent according to Weber. He says moving into a wider range of position is blocked by power differentials between different classes. Weber considers both class and status group membership as basis of social power. But the formation of political party has more influence upon power. For Weber, a party refers any voluntary association which has the aim of securing directive control of an organization in order to implement certain definite policies within the organization. Parties are organizations rather than communities or groups, and they are involving, striving for a goal in a planned manner. Weber notes that the classes are in the economic order, status groups are in a social order, and parties are in the sphere of power. In some sense, power is not a separate order, in that classes and status groups are concerned with power. The difference between parties on the one hand and the status groups and classes on the other is in the level of analysis. Parties are organizations, whereas classes and status groups are grouping of people. If status groups or classes become well organized, they may form parties, or their parties may become the organizational wings of the class or status group. Trade unions, professional associations, ethnic organizations, and religious institutions are examples. Parties represent power at the macro level. When it comes to his perception of power at macro level, his concepts of power and domination are closely associated. He distinguishes between these types of domination: charismatic, traditional, and legal rational. In charismatic leadership, the basis of power is the charisma of the leader. The term charisma is applied to certain quality of an individual personality, by virtue of which he is set apart from ordinary individuals and treated as endowed with supernatural or superficially exceptional powers and qualities. In traditional domination, the basis of power is age-old traditions. Patriarchalism is a good example of traditional domination. The basis of power in legal rational domination is legitimate law. For Weber, all three, class, status, and party, are sources of power. Thus, his view on power is extensive, cutting across economy, social, and political parameters. Now, let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self Learning Podcast.